everybody from wherever you may be tuned in this whole universe. I can say good morning to you in Australia or in South Africa, good afternoon, wherever you are. This is Zwap Podcast, and now we're getting into the thick of things. I'm your main man, and with my other main man, you know, the two musketeers. We here, Semi Fever and Dumaiza.
How's I say?
No, fine, my friend.
I'm good, my friend. Hey, man, today we pulled something, eh?
Yes.
Someone.
No, we get.
I think we're growing.
We're getting deep into all things. We did
The traditional
things. Now we went into the religion. And today, here at Zwap, we feel now we must start, as we promised you from the onset. Now we're doing the politics. And from the politics, we'll even go global politics. But today,
Siyalontsha political analyst.
Political analyst yarena. Ke Mishmalaza. Mishmalaza.
Abash.
Kunjani na?
Taiza T.
Kunjani baba?
Good afternoon to your listeners and your viewers, wherever they may be. Philile bafethu ninjani.
Ah, si right nicho, si right. Ukuhle ukubona. Niyajima na. Niyakuka. Kwezulu kukuka kwiraje. Izulu. Ah, niyakuka. Uyukuka ritsiphi.
Ah, kuki politiki.
And you know, in this podcast, we like South Africans to be open-minded and to know things and to, at times we must challenge each other about issues, but besides challenging each other about issues, come with your input. And then at times, you've got another side of the story, but you don't have the whole side of the story. So we don't subscribe to any side. We are we are free thinkers. So we take it from all the sides, and then you stand to choose which side you're on. But today, I wanted all of us to concentrate on the politics here at home in South Africa. You know, people have been saying, every time you talk about Zuma, it's like when you talk about Brenda Fassie, you think you want Chaga Chags. When you talk Kaizer Chiefs, you think
Orlando Pirates, not Sundowns.
We say some people will say we are uncles. They think you think they are on Cyril Ramaphosa's side. And when you say reality, it's Nkandla, you know, maybe you can even say Nkandla and
Nkango.
And Palapa. Yeah, because these are properties of president, the sitting president and the former president. And you cannot hide away from it. So today, I said, sit down. When we sat down, we said, you'd be talking about what the current president is involved in and the politics of the day. And then people will be mentioning President Zuma. So, Ramesh, as our analyst, I want to say, when people talk of Jacob Zuma and people talk of Ramaphosa, let's start about the goods or things that come to mind. That people
about the two.
Yeah, about the two. Let's start with Jacob Zuma. What would you say about Jacob Zuma and somebody who follows Jacob Zuma or IT Jacob Zuma? He did this and this and this, and citizens of this country, they love him for this.
Fever, my brother, and Tumaiza, at least we need to first understand that under which structure do they operate, these two leaders you're talking about, that's Jacob Zuma and Cyril Ramaphosa. It's important that South Africans understand what is the ANC, because the centrality of South African politics is built around the ANC. Uthanda ungathandi. Now, so that you can analyze them in context, you first need to quickly understand what is the ANC, and perhaps as leaders of the ANC, what is expected of them.
Because the ANC
is the center. It's the center of. Now, the ANC is this organization that was formed in 1912 at the conceptualization of Pixliga Isaka Seme, particularly as a response to the 1910 Land Act by the regime at the time. The 1910 Land Act is a land that decided that black people shall be deprived land. And in 1912, the response was that black people educated then was the African National Congress. Fundamental purpose to respond to the challenge of land.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that the reason the ANC was formed to try and restore land possession to black people, because 1910 Land Act was an official legislation that was meant to deprive black people land.
Okay.
Now, at the center of South African politics, going forward, is the issue of the land. Now, other things could be creams on top and whatever, but the deprivation of the land decides who's the boss. Now, which means then the essential mandate of the ANC throughout the years was to restore land to its rightful owners. Okunye ke semasweet ke comrade nezinye izinto zokudida to dilute things,
to dilute the whole thing.
nesingisi esiningi, that's why namhlanje ngizozama ukusinciphisa as much as possible ngoba siyahlupha.
Yeah.
Namanje there's a policy conference. It's a lot of English that's going to be taking place there, spoken in that, and a lot of technical use of the English language to end up coming back to the space where white people are still in charge of the country.
Of the land.
But a lot of English has been debated. Now, then you rush quickly from 1912, you go to
94.
No. Around the 60s.
Okay.
When the PAC was formed. The PAC becomes established as a breakaway from the ANC, because the ANC now marries to communists, that the ACCP, which includes a lot of white people. Now the issue of the land becomes diluted. The purpose of the ANC becomes diluted, man, because now there is a divergence of interest. Then Robert Sobukwe breaks away and he forms the PAC, and the slogan of the PAC becomes
Land
Isolate.
Isolate, yeah.
Well, what?
Now that means Sobukwe picks up with the ANC is moving now, it's being shifted from its fundamental mandate, which was
Land first, all shall follow.
Exactly. Yes. Then you run quickly, you come to the breakaway of the EFF.
No, before you can even get there,
Yeah.
I want to ask this one. And then there's somewhere, when the PAC says Israel, now you get the ANC saying the land belongs to everybody who lives in it.
Thank you.
And now it becomes something.
Now we're talking. Now you're touching the Freedom Charter. When now the ANC is no longer about land, it's about the charter. Yeah?
Okay, yeah.
It's about the charter. Now the Freedom Charter begins to speak to all who live in it.
Including laba batshontshe laba.
Ama-communists angenile manje. They must be
Okay.
accommodated.
Include laba batshontshe le
Nalaba
land.
batshontshe land now.
Wisho njalo ngathi don't say but laba batshontshe
Nalaba
land.
batshontshe izwe leli.
By
Nabo
1910
sebaphila
ngeke
la
now.
now.
Okay.
Nabo sebane-land manje. Now the ANC begins to shift from its fundamental position. It's trying to
Who live in
accommodate.
it, who's going
And when I
working.
beg Freedom Charter, it says, it speaks as if we are all equal.
Oh yeah.
It begins to assume ukuthi siyalingana sonke. But by then, already, the white people are owning the land and they're owning the economy of the country. So you have a charter that seems to say we are all equal. We are not equal.
You know, like I said, Dama, you said today, like we said to them, we're just going to give them the tip of this and that. Snippet of that. Now, I want to say, and you say, we know EFF came now, the land issue, now is the land first, and what. Fine. Say one name. I want to say to you, in the midst of everything, it's like people are fighting for a common cause. Now, somewhere, somehow, it starts going haywire. Where does that start?
In a society of capitalism, money is always the power. Now, politics are expensive as well. When you participate, you begin to need funding. And to articulate and make sure that your political message gains momentum and it gains good audience, you need funding. Now, who's got the money? Is the same thief who stole your land. He's got the money. They have the money. Now, somewhere along the way, because when they plan with the money, they're able to plan ahead. They realize what the struggle is getting intense. They will need to plan ahead so that they remain in power. Then they release Mandela. They go and discuss with Mandela, but Mabame release that they have their own conditions. Then they have CODESA that comes with a clause that says their property rights shall be protected.
It's-
Angisho sishaya ngaphezulu singethi
Yeah,
manje-
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because one day we are going to get this into Conesa, because there are people who are in Conesa who are not supposed to be there, and there are people who are supposed to be there, they are not there.
The centrality of that clause that the property rights shall be protected. Was driven, amongst others, by Joe Slovo. Now, when you protect the property rights of the thieves, that means you begin to acknowledge that now the land they've stolen, they own. And all they've built and all the wealth that they've generated as a result of the theft will be protected. You are the liberating force. You acknowledge that. You endorse that as part of the conclusions and resolutions, the codes. But who was good? Now they are against that.
I want to ask about him. Why did he move out? Because there's a story that they're saying, 5 minutes.
Yeah,
5 minutes, Lord.
He felt betrayed by that clause. Because if you keep the rights of those who have stolen the land, then what are you saying? What are you saying when you want to redistribute it? What are you saying because you've protected their rights?
You know what, Ndagama, there is another school of thought. ACT, you know, when people went into Conesa, and then the apartheid regime started having a conversation with ANC, which was in exile, when they come back. Couldn't this thing, when another school of thought said the mistake was, we were not supposed, when I say, because Kimanam Malasibi,
Mosot.
people who thought, who were betrayed because their land was taken. When we came into the negotiations, they were not supposed to negotiate land. You can't negotiate what is yours.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's like if you are arrested for robbing the bank, and then the bank comes and negotiates with you with changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what is happening. And then any because of the issue of Mali inside the ANC, to run the ANC is also costly. Seguna Laba, who are financially beginning to be dependent on white monopoly capital. And white monopoly capitals are the beneficiaries of the property clause. Yes. And they've insisted that it gets driven. There is a big story about the insistence of white monopoly capital that Cyril Ramaphosa becomes the chief negotiator. And they impose that decision when Thabo and Zuma are out of the country. They go and demand from Mandela that Cyril must be the chief negotiator, because they are aware that perhaps they could have
the story that they had they are moved out. They were England or somewhere.
Nah,
UK. Is it the truth? They were not in South Africa.
No,
they went out of the country.
Okay.
My source was when I checked the video when there was an interview by interviewer Ukeiten McKenzie, or what he wrote in his book, and he researched it. And when he says the two gentlemen, Begi and Zuma, they thought they were going to be part of the negotiations at Codes, and then they were not there. And then when they found out that they were not there, they started asking who was the man who was overseas was Ubaba Mandela. They called him. But Ubaba Mandela, we are not in that thing. No. Who says you are not there? Because I'm the one who's supposed to take you out. And then they were replaced by somebody.
Kubalulekile semi njengoba ngicela ukuthi sishaye ngaphezulu. Singangeni siya kulo mbuzo wakho. Remember I'm asking to your question, but I'm giving you context.
Okay.
So that by the time ngiphendula umbuzo wakho, then you can reflect on the context, then you can find ilink kuzo zonke into lezo. Okusalayo ukuthi now the chief negotiator becomes Cyril, and it was important for me to indicate how he became the chief negotiator when he was not in exile, when there were senior leaders who were there.
Can you touch it some other time?
No, we'll get to that. Yeah. But I'm introducing Cyril because Cyril is part of your question at the end. So I'm introducing Cyril to the center now. You want? Now Zuma and Thabo are dethroned from the space of chief negotiations. Cyril becomes a negotiator, but politically speaking, he was a junior to them. He was an extreme junior. And Cyril becomes to be at the center of South African politics suddenly as a messiah of some kind, or a deputy messiah than Mandela. around that time. But these guys, Cyril, Abu Thabo, Abu Zuma, they come a long way as our exile heroes. But then subsequently, you have Cyril working for the longest period of time with Rolf Meyer, who represent the white monopoly capital interest. And you must remember that the funders of the CODESA negotiations at the center of that was Anglo-American and the Johan Ruppers. They were funding those processes. It's costly to negotiate and get exiled people. So there is cost to politics. Now, what I want you to remember is that politics is expensive, it's costly.
Yes.
Even the people who are doing politics must eat and they must feed their families.
I want us to get it there.
Yeah.
Because now that you've touched that, I want us to jump and come to the present.
Yeah.
Where a layman, put yourself in the boots of a layman. When the layman starts seeing, for the first time, there is a question which just gives me a problem. When the sitting president of the time, of the present with Cyril, when he starts being implicated with allegations to be politically correct and to legally cover everybody, I'll say it's still allegations because I don't have proof. But when that starts being in the public domain about what the president is involved in, like the previous president, Zuma, when these things went public, a layman knows what was fed by the media from both sides. Now, put me in the light as far as an analyst, but who's now taking off a cap of somebody who knows much by virtue of researching. What did Zuma do that makes somebody today say, I'm still a Zuma man, or he's my president?
I still go back to your question and say, at least what is not an allegation about what you said with regards to Cyril is the fact that money was stolen in his farm and the matter was not reported to the police.
Okay, then we'll come to it. I want us to take maybe step by step.
I'm just clearing that part.
Oh, no,
it's not an allegation.
No, fine.
Because he confirmed.
No, I mean the way we as laymen we get news from what. Fine.
No.
But start with Ubaba.
In terms of the allegations against Ubaba.
Allegations Ubaba or the facts.
Well, let's start by the first allegation that was made by Cyril that Ubaba's regime was 9 wasted years. It was a big phenomenon. When he assumed power, he said, now we're getting rid of the 9 wasted years. And by the way, Cyril was the deputy Gababa, Gule 9 wasted years as well. So, and as a deputy, you are a government, you run government business, you're in charge of government business. Now, to this day, the first accusation about Baba was the arms deal where Baba was accused to have received money from Shabir Sheikh, and then Shabir Sheikh went to court, was sentenced, and that case is still in court today, and it's almost 17 years down the line. They are struggling to prove or to show us where Ubaba received money from Thales company or from the arms deal project.
Fine. Then it's not yet proven. Mtama, one day we are going to go into the details of that, of Ubaba. Today, if you know uhlale lapha tshela mina ngoba mina ngithi CR17 is the best compared to Ubaba uZuma. Well, tshela mina ukuthi mina ngathi okay uZuma umuntu uZuma uyawasinikeza wakhuphula isasa bekathi abantwana bazoya esikolweni bangena amahanga ibe bangamdistepanga bekuzenzeka lokho, but things like those things that the layman can see.
Yeah, it's important that you indicate ukuthi sikhuluma ngama achievements kababa.
Yes.
Noma ngama failures wakhe osikhuluma ngayo
jointly.
And that's why the biggest notable issue ngobaba is the corruption charges. Like Amala corruption, they were popular around Zuma, yeah. And the biggest case I charge ngayo ile arms deal when he was actually the MEC economic development AKZN.
Let's start it here then. Is he, in your eyes, is former President Zuma corrupt?
Nothing has been proven that he's corrupt. He is not corrupt where I'm standing. To this day, even the Zondo Commission has issued out its report. And you must remember that the Zondo Commission was created, centered around leadership. State capture, if we know English, it was captured during the era Yagaba, but before that it was never captured. But that report, till today, between me and you, if there was anything that implicates Baba directly on that report, we will be talking about it to this day.
It's completed as we
It's completed
speak.
as we speak, but there is no bank transactions, at least, that reflects imali ngena account kababa from corrupter to corruptee.
Okay.
The report is out, and I can tell you, because that commission was established centrally around Uzuma, they will be excited if there was items of evidence that indicate Ubaba are corrupt. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to give you juxtapose the issue yama bank statements, because some bank statements are baba open, accessible, like a silanga next. He did not need any court order to seal any bank statement. Besides that, he was thoroughly investigated. I am saying, as a layman, akufiganga lutho ethi ubaba will receive imali from other outside sources. And you must understand that as political leadership in South Africa, the issue of transparency is very important. And it's actually constitutional that these guys must be transparent to us.
In fact, there is a saying which says we are all equal in front of the eyes of the law. So I would imagine if it was you and then having dealings or things related to money issues, if you go to the court, would you think it was going to be judged in your favor that we shouldn't see what you were hiding?
No ways. No ways. Don't go too far. Don't say it was me. It's easy. I'm just an ordinary citizen.
No, yes, because no. I'm coming from the
If it was Zuma,
okay, you compare, yeah, fine, okay.
if it was Zuma and there is 50 rand Ibuya from Shabir Sheikh, you will know about it. Now suddenly we learned, Uguti, you can apply to have your bank statement sealed as a leader.
I want this, that one is nice. We'll get deeper into issues when we start there and to hit that topic intensely. Now I want to find out here. ANC, whether you like it or not, I say ANC is the only thing a black man has got in this world. A black man, a black South African. ANC is the only commodity or what a private what.
Let me assist you.
I don't know how to put it. I want to put it.
Yes.
Because I hear people say, no, this ANC must collapse. Tell me, what would happen to a black man without ANC?
The reason why I was explaining to you what is the ANC is because I wanted to get it, but thanks, we accelerated it. ANC is the only weapon in a black person's hand to respond to the oppression delivered by a white man on a black man in the country. Nothing else. It's the master weapon. Now, the enemy would always fight this master weapon. That's why I told you it was a weapon established to respond to land dispossession. Now, till today, land redistribution has not been achieved. Land reclaimment has not been achieved because this ANC is targeted. It has now been infiltrated in Mali, and it has been divided to the elites. There are elites in the ANC. There are people in the ANC who have decided to use the ANC to befriend white monopoly capital, to befriend the oppressor, the enemy, so that they can frustrate the programs of the ANC. And I can boldly say the ANC currently now is led by those infiltrators.
Yo.
Okay.
And that makes it difficult. Now that's why they talk about factions. That's why it makes it difficult for those who are still keeping to the soul of the ANC, those who wants the ANC to fulfill its original mandate, which is the reclaiming of the land and the redistribution of the land. It's difficult for them because at the center of power of the ANC, it's those who are shareholders into various white monopoly capital companies. And they take mandates from Stellenbosch and everywhere else in their board meetings, where they are just paid for their black faces in order to frustrate the programs of the ANC inside. Like they are busy frustrating the policy conference now as we're speaking in Nasrec.
Somebody said, Barking, the biggest mistake, the former president, was to love us Africans What's your take on it, President Zuma? These corruption things, just little state capture. The line that was used just to distract our minds. Otherwise, but is it when I analysis or not? Did he really love us as South Africans, or not? He said, compare it to his regime, né? Or the leadership behind the 9 years of whatever, so-called we said years, 9 years. Compare now, when coming to this thing, the policies that they made that time. The white man was so scared in 9 years. Even he's a friend of mine. Even said, check out the white companies. They even changed their names. You know, they only refill construction, but driven by a white, owned 100%. There were guys that triple BBE thing. It was a big thing by then, and they respected it. But today, it seems like it's dying slowly. Those guys are coming back. Another big example, he said, check now, even with AfriForum, did you know of them? I'm like, no, I knew of them now. He said, no, they've been there. But today, even they can challenge government and win the case against the government. They can change something that, that the government respected, or a policy that was just signed and follower. Today they challenge it and it stopped. Remember there was a time that government couldn't even give out works, the works, public works, municipalities, but they stopped everything AfriForum. So he was just saying that the problem, mistake that Zuma, he wanted to see a black man, having money and whatnot. Today, hey, I don't know. Tell me.
Let me quickly tell you this. Samora Machel once said to his Frelimo comrades that when I speak and address you, and you see the enemy clapping and celebrating, you must know that I have sold you out. Comrades, never trust me again. Now, President Zuma never played to the white gallery. President Zuma never attended meetings, Libo Rupert. He never jumped at their whim. And President Zuma's era was focused on the radical economic transformation of the society, and which means from establishing black industrialists, making sure that black people have got access to the economy of their own country, make sure that black people are no longer economic spectators in their country, make sure that the occupancy of black people in the economy is meaningful, it's reflective of their populace in the country as a majority. He was blatant about that. He made sure that there's access to education, free education, everybody could have access to education. He made sure that there's ample business opportunities for black people. And he made sure that even the layman on the street could begin to identify himself as a South African that is recognizable. He also made sure that he does not spend too much time focusing on the West. He participated in the formation of the BRICS. Now you must know that when you go the route of BRICS and Russia and China, you are threatening America, because South Africa is seen as a colony for the Anglo-American forces.
But you know what? That one we're going to come back to, because that one is a subject on its own. I want to know whether South Africa, you say G7, where the West is, you see us there. And then you see BRICS, you see us there. Where are we? That one is a topic for another day. I want to ask you about this thing. Why are we seen as being xenophobic, even the term itself, when we're talking about a free entrance of foreigners coming from other countries, coming to do as they please in our country without relevant papers, and then it's like a free for all for them, and then it becomes like a bad thing when you start pointing out that, guys, can you stop this free movement? Because when we travel, we know on my passport it will say, I'm going to this country, I'm leaving South Africa on this day, I'm coming back on this day. But for these other people, it's like from the borders, it's like, welcome to South Africa, enjoy yourself. And it's open-ended.
Yeah, you've got to contextualize this, the the attitude of the enemy. And when I'm saying to the enemy, I'm not going to mean sweet. In this show,
No, and we all know
the enemy are the drivers of the oppression of black person in the
Yes.
country. And by skin color, by and large, they are white. That's the enemy.
No, and both those ivory colored ones,
Yes.
we are part of the team now.
Now, and that's why we're talking about white monopole capital. Now, our borders are loose.
With holes.
And how it assists the enemy is that the enemy then begins to employ foreigners and gives them
The cheap labor.
subjects them to poor salaries. But you know, because our foreign brothers and sisters, they are desperate, they accept that. In order to create a battle for resources, minimal resources, amongst poor black people, South Africans, and poor foreigners. And when the battle shifts from chasing the white monopoly capital itself, it
goes-
focuses on the ground. Then we lose focus on transforming the country and liberating the country as it is a central mission. We focus on crumbs amongst ourselves. That's it. But somebody can come and say, but you are in government, why are you not closing the borders? But remember I said, the government is captured by white monopoly capital. Our government officials reports, most of them reports to Stellenbosch. And they want to do that which pleases Stellenbosch. And Stellenbosch are the beneficiaries of apartheid. They are the central beneficiaries of the past economy. And they are driving the economic isolation of black people in this country. And they will drive it at all costs by all means. Be it education, if it means opening the borders of the country, it will assist them to delay our access to the economy. They will do that and they will even finance that. So you must understand that the enemy with resources, he can plan ahead. And before you think about it, we'll be calling each other xenophobic and all that. There are white people from Czechoslovakia, like who's that?
Ronavak, Kreja.
Kreja, you name them. There are a whole lot of them. They come into the country without papers and they stay and they commit crime. But because what is white has become right. We don't see that this is a Czechoslovakia.
You know what? Yeah, the only time we say somebody's a foreign, we are talking black on black.
Yes.
But if we say somebody's from Greece, and from Egypt,
He can even employ you, in the country.
So the thing we will this money thing is strong. You know, level like this summer, the organization, South African Medical Association.
Yeah.
You know, they're also Libona. This organization, there's too many infights. Like the medical doctors.
Yeah.
NUMSA this week. Now we will more by dissolve or something.
Yes.
Again. Kibuaka dudula. Leona is no more dudula our African National Congress. Leona Hapapa it's in God. So that's the issue how the person who has money can control you. Now Lerona today, I mean we nearly so hated ourselves, ne? As Africans because of the thing we were
your president is a capitalist, a hardcore capitalist, and is a former unionist.
Yes, sir.
From being a founding member of National Union of Mine Workers, he opened that union, assisted and funded by Anglo-American,
to fight it.
to open this union, to set it up. But before he thought about it, somewhere down the line, he's a shareholder at Lone Mill. We'll touch Marikana one day. I'm just passing by. I'm saying we are having this president who's been a board member, a chairman at MTN. Now they are busy trying to sell telecom to MTN. You've got this president who's been in boards of all companies, who's been owner Shanduka, and which is traded with Glencoe. Now you've got this guy who is a hardcore capitalist, but his purpose is to open the doors for black people to access the economy of the country. But he leads the conference now, at the policy conference. But at the same time, he must protect the interest of his shareholders in various companies.
Dalama, yes, you mentioned something. You know, when I'm sitting down, I'm asking myself, because SOEs, they've got their own CEOs, and they're different. What led to all our SOEs to crumble at the same time or to look bad at the same time?
Coincidence.
They were managed by one person.
Yeah, Pravin Kodan manages them.
Okay, tell me.
And Pravin Kodan is a good friend there, Cyril. And Pravin Kodan has got shares in various private sector companies. You see what they're doing with the private with the SOEs. They are selling them to their friends. And let me tell you why they're doing that. These SOEs were established by the white monopoly apartheid regime as a stronghold for Afrikaners when they took power from the English. Because Afrikaners had no capital base, they had no economic access. So this white monopoly, SOEs were a response to the 1924 Poor White People Act. There's an act in 1924 that deals with the poor white man. It was legislated. Now, then they formed these SOEs because white people could not participate in the economy like black people now at one stage. Now, they were employed as Spornet, Transnet, ESCOM. But when white people realized that now they're leaving power, by a hamba manch, now they deploy the kind of a capitalist leader who is already a shareholder in various entities, Zabo. So that when they say to you, but we want to buy this thing, sell us. Now they want to leave the black person with a state without resources, a state that depends on the private sector. Because if they sell ESCOM like they're doing now, if they sell ESCOM, if they sell, they've sold Telecom, they sell SAA, they sell Denel, it's collapsing. But guess who's going to buy? Is there any black person who's got 2 billion rands to buy Denel now?
Never.
You know what, you come to another point. I heard the other day, but we will get another energy resource, and if it will be from your solar, and then if you do it, this is how it will benefit you.
You have enough, you can.
If you have enough energy,
ESCOM will buy from you.
You can sell it to ESCOM. If you can buy, but solar panels, I can't even, as a black person, I can't even afford one solar panel.
The problem is when you are a government elected by poor black people, voted by poor black people, but you make laws that benefit rich white people. How do you sell ESCOM? Show me a black person who can go and buy ESCOM tomorrow. How do you buy ESCOM when we, as black people, you represent less than 3% of the Johannesburg Stock Exchange?
But what are you saying to this person? Matatai, this story of you of these guys are selling this ESCOM and whatnot. I don't care. Now I just need light. I want to see light. I want the electricity. Where it comes from and whatnot. What are you saying to a black person? Hey, you know you're talking too much. You're selling and somebody's buying and what. I don't care. Nagabata the lights.
Yeah, I don't care. The neighbors have cooking more.
That is for him.
Clever blacks, and you must call them like this.
Yeah. One
of the biggest sellouts in this country are the so-called educated black people. Yes. They are the most dangerous. Thomas Sankara once said that. There is nobody who's going to sell you quicker than the person that is so-called educated. Okay. Because most black people are educated in order, their education has transformed into white. They think when you can speak English like we do now, then we are educated. They think education means that you can have a next neighborhood in Pretoria East, in Bryanston, or whatever. And once they are comfortable and their kids play with white kids, for them it's an achievement. And when among things but step in their comfort space with their white neighbors. And these are the people that you then think they are educated. You want to entrust them with the purpose of liberating you. Forget it, my brother. They take that guy, they give him a board membership stake in Coca-Cola and whatever. That guy doesn't want to be bothered by you. He wants to buy a solar panel. Now for them, that's liberation. And English
okay.
You know what? Malza maybe he was specific with that when he pointed to that electricity. I want you to talk to a South African, black South African. Yeah. When you talk about things, they say, no, this is politics, and you know, I'm not. They are not part of politics.
Yeah, man.
Show them how important politics is and how important we should take part in politics.
Yeah, education about politics is another subject outside of their social dynamics. You see, in South Africa is black and white.
Yeah.
In South Africa, when you are a black person, you have no choice. You are swallowed into politics as you are born, or not choice, because your skin color defines who uzohlala kuphi, uzo-afforda ukuphila kuphi, uzodla ini, uzosebenza kuphi. Your skin color. Now, once that defines you, that's called racism. We are into politics already.
Yeah.
So, Marga uthi wena umuntu emuthi mina ngingena politics. You are extremely ignorant and you are a threat. You are a danger to us.
There are questions that you give now, and these questions really they come to people as if they have been pumped by one source and they get a ready-made software which takes them like that. You know, I want to show you an example. In South Africa, we had like a trend. Mandela was the president, and who was the deputy?
De Klerk.
It was Thabo Mbeki.
En de Klerk.
But
Yeah, okay.
Whoever became, so you are going to listen. Whoever preceded him was the deputy, became the president of the day. And then, who was the deputy of Thabo Mbeki?
Zoom.
Zuma, Zuma, and then when Mbeki stopped being a president,
Zuma
became a president. Who was the deputy of
Zuma.
Ramaphosa. And when Baba stopped being a president, who became a president? Cyril Ramaphosa. Who is the deputy of Cyril Ramaphosa?
David
Mabuza.
So where does this question come from these days? When the president is implicated in some corruption, wrongdoings, and then people say, please help me, where does it come from? It's like people see that wrong is being done, but they say, or may have been done. They say,
Mara.
but
president after.
and then why that format by Lebar? Can't David Mabuza be, okay, can't he be a president?
Yeah, because la go Zwap as knowing a foot as chiga. Some of us, after observing Cyril being a president, we realize it must be the easiest job. Anyone can go there and do a better job. So David Mabuza can be the president because it's logical. He's the deputy.
He's the deputy. You know, when I'm saying to people, guys, no one is bigger than the government. You know, I was taught by Issa Kidd, it's an American artist. One day she came to SA Live, Morning Live, and it was during the apartheid era. When they asked her at the tail end of the program to bid farewell to her listeners and viewers, she said, the people are the government. And Kairos, the credit was supposed to roll. They stopped them. And then they asked her, what do you mean? She had to explain. Because I say to people, guys, our leaders, we are bigger than our leaders. I don't know whether I'm making a mistake.
Correct.
No, you're right. We government.
Yeah, it's like at the school. The prefects, we are bigger than our prefects. They are just leading us because we chose them to be there. When anyone do wrong, you must know at any given time, the people are the government.
Taiza,
Baba.
this is 5 minutes of Chumak.
Yeah.
Are you? Can you tell me where, in my lifetime, whatever that was fought or people died for, or am I gonna live? Kitaibona that thing. The dream of those guys.
Of the freedom charter.
Yeah.
I think if we continue to a trajectory, we could answer and say yes. But let me tell you what happened during the era of Cyril. The gains of the revolution were taken almost 20 years backwards. We've got a lot of house niggers who are at the center of the struggle, leading the struggle. And a house nigger does a better job than the enemy himself. Because a house nigger is at Nazareth conference, is influencing the policy conference. A house nigger make the land claim issue. We figure like we are complicated, but we will redistribute this thing, but we must do first this. No. If we wake up tomorrow and demand our land and take our land, we can take it back effectively. No policies, no conferences. You can't discuss with somebody who stole your television. But now, because we've gone to a stage where we are led by people who feel that we must negotiate with our people who stole from us, you're never gonna see that in your lifetime. We are led by people who want to make sure that out of almost the 60 million population of South Africa, people, 4 million will continue to dominate the economy like they're dominating. We are led by people who just want to become shareholders and small PE partners in white companies. We will never participate in the economy of this country. And by the way, earlier on you said to me, we agreed that the money is the most important thing.
You know what, here at Zwap, we say it the way it is. You know, gone are the days when people will be afraid to say things because they will be exposed, their life will be taken, because anyway, we are going to die at the end of the day. You know, my one is one. By engaging in these topics, all is not yet lost. We believe here at Zwap, our kids must not inherit our ignorance. We are so ignorant to understand that some things now, we are blaming a well-oiled machine by people who only arrived here in 1652. My dream is to see us living the life that we were living in 1651, where one African man had a number of women, and it was not deemed polygamy because that is not our term. Where every man had cattle, and where every family had mini fields. And today, it's like a miracle when you see a man with 2 cows.
Where there was no street kids.
Where there were no street kids. Where there were no hobos.
No prostitutes.
Where there were no because prostitution is a result of
capitalism.
Capitalism, things that went
the need for money.
You know, guys,
Few seconds, Mashaban. Where on Twitter, Mr. Handsome, Arge Gemang and Nkonzo. Okay, Mr. Handsome. Are those who want to set a meeting with the ANC SG Ismahashuli, please feel free to do so. He will be in the office on Monday at Little House before he takes over as president in December. Is he coming back to that thing?
And for those who don't know what you're talking about, this recording it supersedes. It's just recorded before or on the day of the policy conference at Nasrec. So that message from Brother Handsome is he thinks that out of this conference already it will render the suspended SG of ANC, it will render him relevant to go back to his post.
The conference resolution of the case.
1 minute,
The conference resolution of the ANC in the KZN last weekend was that the step-aside rule must be scrapped this weekend.
We're going to get into that one when we come back. This is Zwap, our analyst here, our political, you'll see him from time to time. We come on, keep Mishmalaza, and then come to Nugget Nasser. The talkative.
Oh, Jerry. Oh, Jerry. Follow us on social media. At Zwap, Twitter, at Zwap, go YouTube, just type Zwap. We are here, Red Life TV. Email if you want to have a topic to talk to us, send it to Zwap at redlifetv.co.za. Bye-bye.